Today we're going back to the future. Is it the best movie trilogy ever? Grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's go back. Hi guys, and welcome back to another Gen X Unfiltered, the podcast episode.
Hello. Hey.
What's up, everybody?
Hello, Steve. You're gonna just take it away right from the top. This is your.
I inherited this one.
You inherited this one. So how that works is usually whoever inherited it gets to do the research.
Was that English?
No, I can't say that word.
Inherited.
Like the wind, I inherited it.
So, Steve, take it away.
All right. So, like we said, we're taking a look back at Back to the Future. So, the three of us rewatched all three Back to the Future movies last weekend
a couple weekends ago, yeah.
Because I fully had not seen them all in years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So, so we just kind of wanted to go back and talk about the movies and see, does it hold up, and is it the best trilogy ever?
I think it's the big question that was in my mind was, does this hold up? Because, as a kid watching them, loved them, right? But looking back now, do they still hold up? I don't know.
No, exactly. So before we start off, I'll give everyone kind of a little rundown. I'm sure everyone watching has heard of or knows Back to the Future, but if they don't, Back to the Future is a 1985 American science fiction film.
Science fiction?
Yeah, I know. It was like, it's like comedy too. It's like Doctor Who.
It's like comedy
it's got a
science
bit of
fiction.
everything.
Weird.
But directed by Robert Zemeckis and written by Zemeckis and Bob Gale. It stars Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, Crispin Glover, and Thomas F. Wilson.
Who's that?
That was Biff, the bully.
Oh, I didn't like Biff.
He did a good job then.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to like him.
No.
That's right. He nailed his part. So set in 1985, it follows Marty McFly, Michael J. Fox, a teenager accidentally sent back to 1955 in a time-traveling DeLorean automobile by his eccentric scientist friend Emmett Doc Brown, played by Lloyd, where he inevitably prevents his future parents from falling in love, threatening his own existence, and is forced to reconcile them and somehow get back to the future. So
That's quite the dramatic synopsis for it. Like, I mean, that is what the movie is.
Well, there's a lot more that happens in there, but I didn't want to go into
No. I mean, what you said is exactly what the movie is, but they made it sound really way more like dramatic and like.
It doesn't sound like a comedy.
Well,
No.
yeah, like because the movie's pretty campy, right? So, well, I wouldn't say campy. That's not the right word. Okay, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I just had a vision of anyway.
No, keep going. It's fine. It was the first thing I was going to ask, and just sort of a really random question.
Yeah.
How the hell do Doc Brown and Marty McFly know each other?
Didn't I ask that question when we were watching it?
They never explain it. It's kind of like a weird thing. Like
I never really thought about it, but now that you mention it, like they just know each other.
Yeah.
They don't really explain how.
No.
Like this high school kid ends up hanging out with this like middle-aged, mad scientist.
Well, exactly, and he's like, because it just starts out right where Michael J. Fox goes into Doc Brown's house, and it's like this crazy, almost like Pee Wee Herman. It reminds me of like Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah, all the clocks everywhere, and
that like weird, like the dog food like being auto-fed and stuff like that. It reminded me, remember in Pee Wee's Big Adventure where they had like all his breakfast was like automated and that kind of like really weird, like doesn't look like it saves any time, makes a huge mess, but you don't have to do it yourself, so it's
somehow it's better.
Yeah.
I feel like they're neighbors. I mean, that's the gist I'm going with, that they're neighbors.
Well, I think they're.
But I believe that when we were watching that movie, I asked you guys, and you guys were like, crap, I don't know that answer.
I think there's a whole like weird subplot we're not even aware of.
Well,
there's like a paradox in the movie where Doc Brown knows he's going to get shot by the Libyans and dies, so he needs Marty to come back and save him.
Okay.
That could be it too. Like, you never know. It never touches on it. But.
Exactly.
Okay, wait. I was going to like save my point that I was going to say because I didn't want to overstep on Steve's synopses. But Eric, you just brought up the point that was the dumbest part in the whole entire movie.
What?
What's
okay,
that?
well, not dumb, but like, okay, you're like going along, you're like, okay, this movie is what it is. It was 1985, like it's cool, whatever. And then the whole like, who did he get killed by? And
the Libyans. Libyan nationalists.
They're in this like sleepy little town at the mall in the middle of the night, and then these like.
Well,
oh boy, I think you might have missed the whole.
You totally missed the whole point, though.
Why?
He stole their plutonium.
Yeah.
No, I got that part. But like it's just weird. It didn't. I understand that.
Okay, I thought you missed that completely.
No.
It was pretty clear in the movie, like why they're after him.
No, I know why they're after him, but I'm just saying I feel like for the type of movie it was and the setting it was in or whatever, it was just a very dramatically over the top scene.
It's a pretty. I don't want to say dark. Well, dark. I mean, he
basically
gets like murdered.
But it's like over the top.
First, like,
point blank.
20 minutes of the show,
it's
of
just
the movie.
like weird and over the top, like for the type of like vibe the movie has.
Yeah, that's true. The movie's pretty much like fun and light up until that point.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? I mean, again, I get the whole like he stole it, blah 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 blah. But then they came and like not only like just killed him, they like massacred him.
Oh yeah, they came in like rocket. No, they're going after Marty like a RPG and all that
Like,
stuff.
what is going on?
That was great. Well, I guess when Robert Zemeckis introduces conflict, he does it hard.
I was also really worried about Einstein.
That's right, Doc Brown's dog.
The dog.
I like, again, I've seen these movies, but I haven't seen them in so long. So, the hiccups, sorry. That'll be fun.
Oh, God.
So I'm going to go here. So the first movie was originally conceived by Gale, so Bob Gale, with a writer, on a simple epitaph. While going through his father's old high school yearbook, he came across a photograph of the old man that revealed he was been class president. I had no idea, Gale told Den of Geek. That's where I got this article from. And I'm looking at the picture of my dad, and he's very proper and straight, and I'm thinking about the president of my graduating class, who was just somebody I would have nothing to do with. We were just in completely different circles. This raised $1 million question. Would I have been friends with my dad in high school?
No, I wouldn't have been.
So I was going to ask you guys that. Do you think you would have been friends with your parents in high school?
No.
Maybe. I think...
Really?
I think possibly.
Really?
I think there's a chance.
That is like literally the most surprising answer I would ever expect out of Eric's mouth.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, parents change over time. Like, who they are today isn't who they were back in high school.
I know.
They might be more like you than you realize.
Well, I mean, they are, obviously. Like, we're like them. But I don't know. Like, were you expecting Eric to say that about his dad? Not that
I don't honestly know, to be honest.
I think that.
Okay, I'm not sure what to say.
I mean, you guys listening don't know Eric's dad, and Eric's dad's a very nice guy and all this stuff. But I'm just saying, like, I just the vibe. I'm just like, I would have thought you'd be like, hell no.
I was thinking back in time, like, there's a possibility.
But your dad's so quirky and stuff. I feel like that would have stressed you out.
Maybe doses. Maybe like one of those friends that hang with in small doses. I'm not sure.
And like I said, I'm not saying Eric's dad's bad. I'm saying he's just quirky and funny. And
it's not even that, but just okay. So you're going back to hang out with your parents, but you're also going back like 30 years to a time that you never lived in. So like, it's just going to be weird anyways because everything's different. Like what they talk about, joke about, it's not the same as the parent now, where you can talk about certain things and not. I
don't want to go back to 1950.
30, 40 years ago.
And actually, like an anecdote just came into mind that kind of makes me think I might be right on this. So my grandma always says, my dad was a normal boy. I don't know what happened to him. So,
but I think
maybe back in the day...
You went and corrupted him.
Oh, jeez.
No, but I think your dad
back in the day, my grandma says, normal guy. So, maybe it would have been fun to hang out with.
I feel like your dad would have been like a player.
Player?
Well, like, I don't think he was successful, but I feel like he would have tried.
Taking the girls to watch these submarine
I don't want to go down
this
path. I didn't talk about this at all.
I think my dad was a jerk, so no thank you. I'm okay. I would never have talked to my dad.
What do you mean think?
I would never have talked to my dad because I feel like he would have been cool like, like he would have been the smoking, probably
driving a muscle car.
Yeah, like just weird. My dad is so not like that now, but
I think your dad would have dressed like a 50s street tough.
He was gonna say, what was his name in Greece? Kanicki.
I feel like out of all of us, Steve would be the one that would be friends with his dad.
I don't know.
I feel like you would because you guys are like literally the same person.
It's scary, I know, but
like literally the same person.
I don't know. It's I don't know. I don't.
Although I feel like your dad would have been a little nerdy.
Yeah,
but
I don't know, like
not like nerd, but like smart nerdy. Like everybody liked him nerdy, like the cool nerd.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. I remember having my dad. I remember he had his high school yearbooks at home. I remember looking through and stuff like that. But it's so hard to tell because, like you said, it just looks so different and stuff like that.
I don't even think my dad actually went to high school, so I probably wouldn't have even met him either way.
That's a good point.
You had to worry about going with the Enchanted Sea or Under the Sea or whatever the dance.
No. Yeah, the Under the Sea dance.
Trying to save them.
I don't think my dad would have been there as a senior.
Would you have saved them?
Yeah, maybe like do me a favor.
Yeah, just don't.
But yeah, I think Steve would be the most likely. I feel like
maybe my mom. I don't know about my mom. I don't know. I'm sure.
I mean, again, I'm not like your mom's. Your
she might have been a lot to.
I just a lot to deal she's with a lot.
Yeah,
your mom's a lot. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, it would be interesting to be able to go, back and see what they were like. But I don't know if it would be.
Because you forget parents were people before they were parents.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, the hardest part with going back and down would be our frame of reference is today.
Yeah.
So going back and things that they think is cool back then, you'd be like, this is lame.
Well, that happened a few times in the movie, right? He went back. I don't know which movie it was, but he went back and he was saying like words, and they were like, "What?"
Well, that was the whole thing, right? Remember, she kept calling him Calvin because he had Calvin Klein underwear on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, you know.
Back then, like, no one had designers' names written on their underwear.
No, it wasn't a thing, yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the words he said. The one
he kept saying heavy.
Heavy. I can't remember. I was going to say, I can't remember which movie that was in. If it was the first, maybe it was all three of them.
The first one, Marty kept saying heavy when he was back in the 50s, and Doc Brown's like, what do you mean heavy?
Right. He's like, what do you mean heavy? Yeah.
Is the mass of the Earth changed? And some sort of weird scientific reference.
That's right. He's trying to be like, he didn't understand that it was like,
he's saying
heavy.
The emotional weight of the situation is heavy.
It's serious stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to carry on here. So, after highly successful test screenings, the release date was brought forward to July 3rd, 1985, giving the film more time in theaters during the busiest period of the theatrical year. 1985, that's crazy. Did you guys see this movie in the theater?
I saw it at the drive-in.
I mean, I don't think I did.
I was a little guy. I remember my parents like bringing blankets and pillows for us to like fall asleep. Me and my brother while we watched the movie. Yeah. I think I stayed up and watched the whole thing. I can't remember.
I really don't remember, but I think I might have seen the third one in the movie theater. Lame. But I don't remember the other two. Like, my dad loved the movies, so I saw them.
I don't know if I saw any of them in the movie theater, to be honest. I know I saw them as a kid, but I don't remember specifically seeing any of them in the theater. 85 would have been a little young, so it would have been like, but I never went to the drive-in, so.
I did. Yeah. Apparently that's what my parents used to do when I was like 2 years old. They'd just throw me in the back and just be like, I'd sleep.
Yeah, I think that was my parents' plan. Like, they brought us to the drive-in with a blanket and pillows, and we're like, don't be afraid to fall asleep.
Yeah,
here's,
back there.
Here's junk food.
Yeah.
And as a kid, it was like, oh, this is so fun.
It was
so
fun. I
late.
remember it was a double feature. It was The Last Starfighter and Back to the Future.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Weird.
What a lineup.
I know.
I missed the drive-in. Had to go to one again. Mm-hmm. There's still a few around here, which is always kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so where did I leave off here? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so July 3rd, 85. The change resulted in a rushed post-production schedule and some incomplete special effects. Back to the Future was a critical and commercial success, earning $381 million.
Holy crap.
It earned a ton.
That's a lot of money.
A ton of freaking money.
Especially for 1985.
Well, no.
That's like, that'd be like $1 billion now.
Oh, yeah.
But can I also say now, though, like there was, I mean, maybe, I don't know, my like 7-year-old nephew, but there's like a resurgence of Back to the Future stuff. Like my 7-year-old nephew like loves it. He has all the Lego, the Playmobil stuff, the like little everything.
Yeah. No, I know. Remember, was it like last year or 2 years? Remember, was it like released like the actual shoes from Back to the Future? I think it was the second one, the self-leasing ones.
Yes, the Nike self-leasing shoes.
Yeah, they released a pair. I think it must have been for the anniversary or something like that.
Yeah.
But I remember that being a thing too. Yeah, and Lego and stuff like that. I mean, it's still popular. Like that's, I mean, and the money it made, like that's.
Yeah.
And my nephew watches it like all the time.
Well, it's kid friendly. It's not.
I mean, it's other than getting mass murdered.
Well, yeah.
But it has a happy ending. He's fine.
But I think the weird thing with me about that whole scene was like it was like it was weird because it was very dark. Like, I mean, he's getting like bullets riddled through his body in front of like his poor puppy and stuff.
Yeah.
But
and Marty.
At the same time, it was like almost so over the top. Like it was funny, like not funny, but
why they
so it was very confusing.
Well, they're trying to make it like obviously they know it's a comedy. They're not going to have it like super.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed there was no blood.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. They're not going to come out and like make it like really dramatic.
Then why did it have to be so over the top? I don't know. It's just weird. That scene's just weird.
Well, they needed to be. It needed to be probably. Well, they needed to have a reason for Marty to get in that car.
Well, I know, right? But I'm just saying it was very.
How do they do that? Where it's like, you know. He's going to get in there, take off, and hit 88 miles an hour by accident.
Exactly.
So they needed something like pretty dramatic to do that. It couldn't just be like...
I understand why.
I'm going to go out and test drive this car.
It's just... Maybe in 1985 it was like, this is awesome. But now watching it, it's like, eh.
Well, also 1985 political... countries were threats and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So like there was things like that that were sort of top of mind in the 80s. Like, you know, like Russia was still the... evil threat and stuff like that too, right? So it was like
communism was the existential threat.
Yeah, so we had communism, and like you know, so Libya was like, oh, those people are scary back in the 80s.
Yeah,
weird. Anyway,
you know, so it was all that stuff. All right, so what did I say? Yes, so earning $381 million to become the highest-grossing comedy film of 1985 worldwide. I would say that for sure. Critics praised the story, humorous elements, and the cast, particularly Fox Lloyd basically all of them. Fox, Lloyd, Thompson, and Glover. Everyone but poor Biff.
Oh, Biff.
Biff sucks.
It received multiple award nominations and it won an Academy Award, 3 Saturn Awards, and a Hugo Award. Its theme song, "The Power of Love" by Huey Lewis and the News, was also a success.
That was an
I
awesome
do
theme
like
song.
that. Was that the song wrote for it?
Yeah.
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 Oh, so when I hear it on the radio, it's like, oh, this is the written for Back to the Future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, I thought it was
that.
hilarious. You don't see that very often. Where it was like in the opening credits, it was like, and the theme song by Huey Lewis and the News.
Yeah, I know.
They
They
had their own
probably
credit.
Front and center.
He
Yeah.
probably required that. They're like, we can't pay you a lot as much as you want.
They
so
also
we'll just
gave him a
put
little
you-
cameo. I don't know if you know. Well, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure, but you guys,
Yeah.
it's really cheesy.
At the audition
Yeah,
where Marty
same.
auditions his band.
Yeah.
He said they're too loud.
Yeah.
It's like someone, a hard rocker like Huey Lewis is too loud for him.
But it was
He's got the megaphone.
1955.
You just too darn loud, boys.
Yeah.
But it was 1955. They didn't have loud rock music then.
Oh,
No,
boy.
I know, but it was just
That was
because-
85. When
Yeah.
he auditions in front of Huey Lewis, that's 85 still.
Oh.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
no,
yeah.
but in 1955 when he goes back and plays,
Oh,
they're
but
all like,
that's,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
At the Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
all
he
like
starts busting a little Chuck
confused.
Berry, and then
Yeah.
They start doing some Van Halen style tapping on the
Yeah.
guitar. They're like, what are we listening to?
But Marvin Berry, look at that, what a solid guy, right? He called up his cousin Chuck Berry
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, listen to this. I think I found your sound."
Yeah.
And then obviously Chuck Berry stole it.
So they kind of took a swipe at Chuck Berry there.
But that was funny though. But it was, they did a good job of interweaving it. And that's sort of my question. Is what do you guys think after rewatching the first one? Does it hold up? Is it still a good movie? Is it worth
No, I mean,
mentioning it as a good comedy?
yeah, I mean, I think it's a good movie. Like, I enjoyed watching it again. Like, yeah, how many years is that? Like 30 years, 40? I don't know how far away 1985 is.
Too far.
That's a long time ago.
Anyway.
It's like 39 years ago.
Okay, so for 39
Ugh.
years ago watching it, but I mean, no, but I'm just saying, like, now, 39 years later, like, I mean, it holds up for what it is. Like, I've seen way cheesier movies made in 1985 that do not hold up. I mean, I think the story's cool. It's interesting. Like, there's enough, like, funny, like, it's cheesy, but I don't know. I think it holds up. I don't think it's like you watch it and you're like, eesh.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the first one or the whole?
Just the first one.
Just the
And I
first?
think
Okay.
that that's why, like, you know, movies like that are, well, it continues to be successful because it isn't like,
It's kind of
oh,
timeless.
yeah, like, you know, and yeah, I think it holds up.
I think it absolutely holds up.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, I think it's one of the. This is gonna sound weird. Probably like the best time travel movie ever.
Okay, well, how many is there a lot of time travel movies?
There's all sorts of them. There's like the Time Traveler's Wife.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Is that
Do
time-
they time travel? I don't know.
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I've never seen
that.
it.
I don't know. I know the title, but
I think it's pants. Anyway.
there was something to do with the pants.
Yeah, they all wear the same pants or something.
Like
yeah, they all
different-
wear the same pair of jeans.
But I thought I took them on magical adventures. I don't know. I've never seen it.
I don't know if they're
know.
magical jeans they put on and they went off onto like other worlds.
I don't know.
IMDb.
We'll have to do
I know
a
the
follow-up
movie, but
podcast on
never
the
saw
Sisterhood
it.
of the Traveling Pants and find out what that's all about.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah, but I think it totally holds up. I think like
Yeah.
the comedy's good. I think even the effects in the movie are decent, right?
They're not bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
some of them are a little cheesy, but overall, yeah, it didn't date itself. Like, yeah, they did a good job.
No, exactly. Even like how they travel through time and stuff, and their theories about time travel, they all make sense. Still, it's not like it sounds like out of date and doesn't really work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When he does this whole little drawing on the board of like the straight line.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
this is time, and if we go back in time and you hit this point,
Yeah,
and we go here,
yeah,
this line doesn't exist anymore, and that's
exactly.
why.
We have to get you back to your initial timeline.
Yeah, so that's why like when Marty's parents at first don't meet because Marty gets hit by the car almost instead of his dad.
It gets
Exactly.
very
He
confusing.
starts to slowly disappear from the photos, and his brother in his sweet jorts
No,
and
the
that family
jorts.
photo.
All that stuff gets a little confusing to me. Like, obviously I get it, but like, you know, yeah, no, I definitely, I mean, I'm assuming you have the same
Yeah,
opinion.
no, I
Yeah.
think it definitely holds. Like I said, I hadn't seen it in a long
it's
time,
been a
but yeah, I
while.
was pleasantly surprised how good it was. 'Cause
Like-
I wasn't kind of like, you know what? Like, I mean, it was a kid movie that I remember being funny, but I'm like,
Like, I'd watch it again too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
again, you know, like if it was on TV, I'd put it on. Just like, oh.
yeah, no, it was definitely. If I watching it again, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how good it was. To be honest, that's sort of what I
Yeah.
felt. I was like, oh, I forgot. It's good as I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
So, of course, the irony of this is that Back to the Future was never planned to be a trilogy. I don't know if you guys knew that or not.
Well,
Well, hold on a second. Like, based on how the first movie ended, I thought.
I'm going to get to it. Just wait.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
oh, see, Steve knows the pain of like people jumping ahead now.
Yeah, so this was a quote unquote universe structured around only one story, with its sequel acting as mere expansions on those initial foundations. Even the cliffhanger ending at the first movie with Marty, Doc, and the original Jennifer Parker
Yeah.
piling into the DeLorean when Doc Brown said they got to do something about their kids.
Yeah.
It was never meant to be more than a gag.
Wait, hold on. How
really?
did that movie end? I forget.
Doc Brown comes up in the DeLorean and Marty and his girlfriend get in with them. Remember the three
In
of them?
present time
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
old time?
In present time.
Present time, the three of them fly off. Remember, he's like, we got to do something about your kids. And they all fly off together.
No, I
Yeah.
don't remember that.
Marty's
part.
like, what's wrong? Are we like jerks or something in the future? He's like, it's not you. You're fine.
Yeah,
it's your kids.
And then it was like the
okay.
to be continued. Was that, or
Yeah, the DeLorean picks up and
Yeah.
flies because he's like, Doc, there's not enough space to like take off and get 80. It's
Yeah.
like, roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yeah.
Well,
And then he takes the DeLorean picks up and flies off.
and probably.
And then it had the big logo and it said to be continued, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that because you were talking about earlier that the rush production, right?
Yeah.
I thought maybe they rushed the ending, and that's why the to be continued came up.
Yeah,
because
no.
they didn't have finish a proper ending. To the
No,
thing.
as I was reading this article online, and it was supposed to be a joke.
They
Whoa.
also probably, once they realized it made $300 million, they're like, dang,
Well,
let's
after
get
that,
on
we're not
there.
going
You're goddamn right, we're gonna make some more
but no, that was
movies. Yeah.
that whole ending was just for
Yeah.
fun, and they thought
Yeah.
it'd be funny because of the Back to the Future thing of just
Well,
kind
it
of this like
worked.
never-ending kind of
Yeah.
whatever. But it was supposed to only be. Oh, yeah, when I read
one
it,
movie.
Yeah, I was shocked when because I'm like, what the hell, the ending?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's fancy.
But so yeah, it was never meant to be more than a gag. So yeah, it goes on. We never designed Back to the Future to have a sequel. Director Zemeckis confirmed on the 2002 DVD release of Back to the Future Part 2. The flying car at the end was a joke, and it worked as a great joke, and it was a great payoff. Everyone assumed we had this grand design like George Lucas did about Star Wars, where they had all these sequels. My only hope for Back to the Future was that it would make its money back.
Well, see,
Oh,
that's the
man.
thing.
So he
and
did
then
that and then some.
they
Yeah.
realized how much money it made.
And then so he goes on to say that if he had planned on doing a sequel, he would never have put Jennifer in the final scene.
Okay.
Hence why in the sequel, the character, recast as Elizabeth Shue, spends most of her film asleep on the front porch.
That makes so much sense because
She's
the
in
Jennifer
it, but
character is like really not in the second movie at all when you look back.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so Zemeckis said, I would have only had Doc and Marty be in the car, and then I could have put them on any adventure.
Yeah.
But what happens is when you make a movie that's successful, is it becomes a piece of real estate, it becomes a franchise, and the reality comes at you very quickly, which is we're making a sequel. You can either help us or not, but the sequel is going to be made.
Yeah.
So he realized whether I'm going to be in or out, we're making a sequel.
Yeah.
But then they also kind of shot themselves in the foot by doing this gag ending
Yeah.
that they had
But
to
it
go for.
worked.
Yeah. Now they have to have Jennifer go along for the ride.
But they didn't want her there, so it's like now you're kind of pigeonholed with these
Yeah,
three
but they made it
people.
work.
But it was really weird. 'Cause I remember watching it, it's like, why is she even here? Because, yeah, I remember, like, right off the bat, she's, like, sleeping on the front porch or whatever.
Right,
and, like,
yeah. Doc Brown zaps her with that invention of his to like make her like forget and kind of knock her out.
Yeah, so the whole thing was, like, so she doesn't see herself in the future, we'll just make her
Yeah.
asleep.
Exactly.
Well, I
Rather than
kinda
trying to
like
explain
that.
anything to her. But it's just a really weird, like, to have that whole
Yeah.
story for nothing.
They really didn't write much of a story for her at all in the second movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
like
I,
she wakes up from being like knocked out. She kind of sees herself in the future, and she passes out. They both.
no,
That's right.
Her future self and her present self both kind of like, I'm old, I'm young, and they both pass out.
but I
Yeah,
can
that's
appreciate.
right. It's
and then-
really awkward.
yeah, and then they bring her back to the front porch again.
But I
Yeah.
can appreciate that though, because they could have just been like, I appreciate it because they kept the integrity of how the first one ended. You know
Well,
how people do like movies and whatever, and like they like do something that happens, and then they're like, actually, no, we don't want to do this.
No,
So then they kind of like,
if
ooh,
they had just
no,
started the second movie without her, and
No,
it'd be
no.
like-
But I
it
like-
would have made no sense. So
but
at least
I-
they
Yeah.
stuck with it. It was
Yeah.
kind of like, well, we went for the joke. Now this thing has become, way bigger than we thought. We're going to
Yeah.
be making a sequel. It's going to start the way the last one ended, and we'll figure it out, which is just
so I can appreciate
We'll
that
put her to
they.
sleep.
I can appreciate even if it's like cheesy or whatever. I appreciate that more than just kind of forgetting how they ended the first one. Or like ignoring it and just kind of like not having her there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they just explain whatever. I like it.
no, it makes sense. But when I read that, I was completely shocked that that was supposed to be just like a joke ending. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Very strange.
Yeah, because I'm like, it obviously.
I thought they were like setting it up for a sequel, obviously.
Yeah, me too. And
Yeah.
it completely did. But obviously at the time they're like, we'll never do another one. So let's just, make it like a funny joke and that'll be it. All right, I got a couple of fun facts I managed to dig up on the first the first movie here. So fun fact number 1, Eric Stoltz, I think everyone kind of knows this, but Eric Stoltz was cast as Marty McFly and spent several weeks filming Back to the Future before the role was recast. Stoltz was performing the role as an intense and serious tone and not the quote-unquote screwball energy they desired.
I had no idea, so I don't even
yeah.
know who Eric Stoltz is.
There's actually like you can watch the Eric Stoltz footage on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Is
Yeah,
it
there's
bad?
clips of it. You can tell it's just not the right tone. Like he's definitely more serious. They're right.
Well, and that's Bob Gale, the writer, characterized Stoltz as a good actor in the wrong role.
Michael J. Fox is just very like he's springy. He's like,
well,
bing, bing, bing,
he's kind of manic.
like it's a, you know, it's a goofy
and he's
movie,
like,
so you need someone that's kind of, you know.
And he's like little and bouncy, and like he's like one of those little pogo sticks.
And he's Canadian.
Well, yeah, and he's Canadian.
There you go.
So, you know.
All right, so another fun fact here. Jeff Goldblum, John Lithgow, Dudley Moore, Ron Silver, Robin Williams, John Cleese, Mandy Patinkin, Gene Hackman, and James Woods were all considered for the role of Doc Brown.
Nah, none of those people.
It's hard to picture any of those guys doing it now.
Mandy Patinkin?
That's weird.
What's wrong with Mandy Patinkin?
It's like, what? Did you ever watch
John Lithgow? That'd be so weird.
Did you ever? I could see him more, but like Mandy Patinkin. Did you ever watch How I Met Your Mother? That's the whole thing. You say Mandy Patinkin, and all the old people like Mandy Patinkin.
He was great in Dead Like Me.
Mandy Patinkin.
It's like because the old people watch his shows. I guess I don't know.
Oh,
But so producer Neil Canton suggested Lithgow, having worked with him and Christopher Lloyd on Buckaroo Banzai.
See, I could
Buckaroo
see,
Banzai.
But Lithgow was unavailable, and the role was offered to Christopher Lloyd.
but I could
Yeah.
see him being in the role.
Well, he's
out
a
of
little
all
more,
those people.
what do you got, like zany, I guess?
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
after watching him on Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh,
Yeah.
hated that show.
Yeah.
me too. But
I'm with you, but he was definitely like zany, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Zany?
probably would have done a good job. You know,
Yeah.
he is. He's kind of, Buckaroo Banzai. Which,
but-
if you haven't ever seen anyone watching this, Buckaroo Banzai Adventures Across the Eighth Dimension.
That's the one.
That is a fantastically terrible movie.
Yeah.
Zany is just a weird word, like quirky and like.
Yeah. But no, that he was kind of like zany.
Yeah.
I just haven't heard that word.
This is, I got
bringing it
one
back.
more. So this is kind of interesting fact. So Melora Hardin, who you guys might know better as Jan from The Office,
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
was cast as Jennifer Parker on a 2-film contract. But after Stoltz's replacement, the crew was polled about Hardin being taller than Fox. The female crew overwhelmingly voted Marty should not be shorter than his girlfriend. Hardin was replaced by Claudia Wells.
Look,
Oh,
I mean,
man.
how short was Claudia Wells? Because I mean, let's be real. Love Michael J. Fox. Like he's a good Canadian.
Well,
I
I
love him,
don't
but
know
he's
how-
like 5'4".
He's
I googled
small.
it.
I know he's
Yeah.
small. I thought he was like 5'8", but
No, like I'm pretty sure he's like 5. Didn't I Google it?
Yeah.
Like he's really tiny.
I'd always like shorter than me.
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
I thought he was like 5'8" because I was trying to figure out like how
No,
tall
no. He's tiny.
Yeah, he's a little fella.
Poor Melora Hardin. She was great on The Office. and
I
stuff like
know.
that, but yeah, so I saw her name.
But
Like, hey,
I feel like she wouldn't. I don't know, like that because that role, like there wasn't really any much personality to like.
No,
like,
no,
she
it
didn't
wasn't
have a
a-
like. She was just there.
Yeah. No, that the
She wasn't
girlfriend
really
role
a
was,
central character.
No,
No.
she just kind of appeared in the beginning
Yeah.
and at the end of it
Yeah.
again. Yeah. But so those are some interesting. I thought there was kind of interesting facts about the first movie that I had definitely. I knew about Eric Stoltz. Everything else, though, I didn't know any of that stuff.
No.
Which leads us now. We're going to go into a Back to the Future Part 2.
Part 2.
So basically, it's the same cast. Michael J. Fox. So big change was Elizabeth Shue.
You just
Is the
literally
girlfriend.
said it's basically the same cast. Big changes.
Well, just the one.
There's
girl,
one.
that's right.
There's
Elizabeth
one.
Shue.
I know,
Yeah, it's
I know.
Elizabeth Shue. And the other one, which is sort of a strange one, was they replaced Crispin Glover by Jeffrey Wiseman. So
But did he leave or did they just not want him back?
no, I don't think he wanted to be in it. He didn't want to be in the
Crazy.
sequel.
Yeah.
But then they actually, I didn't really get in, but yeah, they got in a lot of trouble for that. He ended up suing them because they used a bunch of his footage from the first movie without his
With his permission.
Well,
Yeah,
he should get
they-
paid for that.
Yeah.
well, 100%. Yeah, it's like you can't just take my work from the movie, because it's
No.
way cheaper too. It's like, well, we already got the footage, we'll just cut it in.
No.
But so
Yeah.
yeah, you ended up suing them for. I don't know how much he got.
Good. You go, Crispin.
I think the result of that ended up there was changes to the Actors Guild.
I can see why, because they're like, hey, wait,
They added
like-
new clauses in or something, basically saying you can't like reuse footage
or
from.
you get compensated
Yeah.
for
yeah, because they
it.
probably realized
compensation.
that, like a lot of movies could potentially
Yeah.
Yeah.
do stuff like that, especially nowadays, whereas
well, okay,
30
so
years ago, the technology to do
as-
stuff was
well,
limited, but now,
yeah, as the actor, he's like, no, I don't want any part of this movie series anymore. I don't want to
Yeah.
do this. And they're like, well, we want to keep the integrity of you being the dad in the first one. So easy. We have all the because obviously in the second movie it got very confusing. They went back to 1955 again, and blah. So they already had the footage.
yeah.
So yeah, as him, I'd be like, no, I didn't want to be a part of this. And if I am forcibly, then you better pay me.
No, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully, he got a lot more than he would have got as
I hope so.
the actor. Maybe he
Yeah.
got more suing them. Okay, so let's just go on quickly. It's basically the same kind of story, right? And it follows Marty McFly and his friend Doc Brown again as they travel from 1985 to 2015.
Remember how far away that seemed?
I remember
I know.
2015 seemed like a million miles away.
Oh,
Back
yeah.
in 1990 when this came
And
out.
now it's like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. And I'm still waiting on my hoverboard. So
I know. It was
No.
kind of interesting to see that what they thought 2015 was going to look like.
Yeah.
So they fly to travel to 2015 to prevent Marty's son from sabotaging the McFly family future. When their arch nemesis Biff Tannen, played by Wilson again, steals Doc Brown's DeLorean time machine and uses it to alter history for his benefit, the duo must return to 1955 to restore the timeline.
Is that where he stole the almanac?
Yes. The
Yes.
sports almanac.
And then he got rich, but he wasn't supposed to be rich. And he married the girlfriend.
so remember like the
No,
string
he
theory?
married the mom.
He married them. Well, yeah, he married Marty's mom.
Yeah. So remember like the timelines? Doc Brown drew it like the string?
Yeah.
So Biff went back in time, changed things and altered the string of the present.
Yeah.
Never happened. Yeah.
Never
so
happened.
instead of this line going, it was this way. It
Yeah.
came down here.
Well,
so.
because the mom didn't marry the dad. She married Biff and he was an asshole.
Or
Well, no.
no, it was like his second wife, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
whatever.
Marty and his
Because
family
Marty
still
was
existed.
still there and stuff like that,
Yeah,
but he was
yeah,
like a
yeah,
weird,
true.
goofy,
Yeah.
like.
It got,
Marty's dad got murdered.
it got
That's right,
really
yeah.
confusing there for a while, and I didn't want to have to think too hard, so I was just kind of watching and not thinking.
No, it's
I
not.
was because I remember what, and then was that the movie where at one point in time it was like present day Marty was watching Back to the Future Marty in 1955, but
Yes.
they couldn't see each other. Like
Yeah.
it got very confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few scenes like that where they were
Crossover.
present day Marty was with
Was
Past
past
Marty.
Marty and stuff, future
Yeah.
Marty and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, I can't. I just am going with the flow. I couldn't really wrap my brain
Yeah.
around some of it.
Yeah, exactly. It was that definitely got kind of mixed up for sure. Where future Marty was watching Marty from '85, who was in '55, playing in the under the sea dam.
Yeah,
But they
that's right.
couldn't see him. They were like, you couldn't let. Remember, Doc was like, you
That
can't
was
let
one
him
of Doc
see
Brown's
you.
theories.
Yeah.
Like you could cause some sort of a paradox or something if you bump into yourself.
Well,
Yeah.
not even
Different
you might.
timelines.
I always remember it's really random, but in the Harry Potter series, you remember they have the time traveler, and I remember Dumbledore makes a comment to them being like, you know how many people, you know how many wizards have killed themselves when they run into themselves, and they think it's some sort of weird like, imagine you ran into yourself like
I would
right now. People
lose my mind. I would be so like,
No, it's like
I'd be weird. I'd be like, what the hell's that?
Well, we completely like I would.
I'd want to throw up.
Me
Like,
too.
that
Like,
would be
that's
so
what I look
confusing.
like.
Well, not even that, but like how, like I can't even wrap my brain about how trippy that would be. Like I would think I was having like a nervous breakdown or something.
That
Well,
would be
that's
weird.
exactly what would happen. Most people would think you go crazy or something. Yeah, so that's the whole point is why you can't let yourself be seen. Cause
Yeah, and I'd probably
just,
try and like punch, like go away because I think it's some weird demon or something.
Well, that's what I'm like. Yeah, you might do something really stupid because you're not like, it's like that's me. Like,
Imagine the three of us. While we're sitting here, three of us just, oh my God, I want to throw up.
I was
I'm
actually
so
just imagining
terrified.
him like,
Isn't that the most horrible?
it would just be like a complete,
Ooh.
yeah.
like be complete mind fuck. You'd be like, what
I
is
am
going on? Yeah,
really uncomfortable right now.
That makes me feel really weird inside. I'm not sure how to handle this.
That's what I mean. It's not like, oh my God, that's what I look. It's not even that. It's just like, what?
Well, and that's
like,
why. So that's why you can't let yourself be
Ugh.
seen. You can't let yourself see yourself because it's not so much that you'd be like,
Yeah.
that
No.
guy's dressed in like,
Be like,
clothes.
what?
Yeah, it's not like,
Yeah.
oh, that guy's wearing weird clothes. You'd be like, what the fuck? That's me.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
I know.
You know
like,
what I mean?
I
Like,
actually feel uncomfortable right now, and like I want to throw up at the thought of that.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust my other self. What would he do?
Yeah, it'd be weird. So
I don't like that.
it is a bit, when you start to think about it, time travel and all that stuff, it is the whole butterfly effect. You change one thing
Yeah.
and the ripples of time and
Yeah.
Exactly. You create like a massive web of realities and timelines.
Sorry, I touched my headphones there. I'm like, all of a sudden they went silent. I'm like, oh, did I do something?
No, we can still hear you.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yes. All right, so Back to the Future 2 was produced on a $40 million budget and was filmed back-to-back with its sequel, Part 3.
Ugh.
Filming began in February 1989 after 2 years were spent building the sets and writing the scripts. Back to the Future 2 was also a groundbreaking project for the visual effects studio Industrial Light Magic, ILM.
Ooh.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to
Okay.
say something before I forget. We don't have to get into big detail, but that makes a lot of freaking sense why number 3 sucked such ass.
Why?
Because they rushed it. They just were like, number 2, okay, this franchise is successful, so they did number 2, and then like Steve they're just like, boom, let's just film the third one.
I just figured they're gonna do the filming back to back for both, like at the same time, because Marty's not getting any younger, right?
Well,
it's
yeah,
hard
duh.
to-
Michael J.
yeah,
Fox,
hard
it's
to,
5 years later,
But
right?
I mean, he was already older. Like, it's not like he was 10.
No, but he's trying to look like he's in high school,
Yeah, I know, but then they could use the old footage.
not to make a new movie.
No, but I'm just saying. Also, I just feel like they were like, let's just pump these out, and that's why number 3
Well, I mean, that
sucked.
always happens
My
with these movies. They're not
opinion.
looking to, they're not
Yeah.
looking to have 6 years between these films.
No.
They're looking to be like, let's put one out this summer and one out maybe at Christmas or one,
Yeah.
like.
And spoiler alert, in case that was a question, number 3 is the
We
worst.
will get into that. So, but yeah,
This is Kelly jumping ahead. Like
that's
usual.
right. So what was? Oh yeah. So in addition to digital composition, ILM used the Vista Glide motion control camera system, which allowed an actor to portray multiple characters simultaneously on screen without sacrificing camera movement.
That sounds absolutely crazy.
So then that's how they would do where like Michael J. Fox would be on camera twice.
Yes.
They obviously had some sort of new technology that it wouldn't have to be like where you'd shoot it once and then twice.
You
And
have
I
to
guess
shoot
they
it
could
again?
somehow meld it together or whatever.
Where he was bumping into himself almost.
Yeah, it made it look more natural than like, we'll just lock the camera here and you walk into this side and then we'll shoot it once and then you do it again. They obviously,
Yeah, figured out a different way.
yeah, it sounded fancy. I have no idea what it means, but I thought I'd include that as a little note there.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Ah,
So Back to the Future Part 2 was released by Universal Pictures November 22nd, 1989. Throughout though the film received mostly positive reviews from critics, it was deemed inferior to its predecessor. The film grossed over $332 million worldwide in its initial run, making it the third highest grossing film of 1989.
See, I don't.
that's crazy. Is it almost as good as the first movie?
That's
I
right.
would definitely say, like most things, usually the first movie of a trilogy or a series is usually sort of the best one.
Well,
Yeah.
that's always the,
But I
yeah.
do have to say, I think the second one for me personally was a close second because I loved at the time seeing what was maybe in the future. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was cool.
You like the future gags?
I did like
There's
the
There's a
future.
lot more
Yeah.
gags in this movie, like like the skateboard,
Yeah.
the flying
Yeah, yeah,
flying
yeah.
skateboard, the stuff tying shoelaces,
Yeah, they made
things like that.
2015, the future, so they had to make it.
Yeah,
And even though it hurt my brain, I thought it was cool because they when like I said, there was that weird thing where 1985 Marty, whatever. There was 2 Martys in the scene like that. I thought that was cool because they have the 2 movies, so they could overlap it like
Yeah,
that. Make
they
it
definitely
more-
did a good. I found they did a really good job. The first 20 minutes of Back to the Future 2, I hated.
me too.
I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
When we started watching it again, I'm like, oh my god,
I missed it.
I thought it was too much of this is what I think the future's gonna look like.
It was just over the top, dumb, and the Biff character or whatever his name was it Griff at that point or whatever? Was
But I never
with
liked
that
him.
stupid helmet on and stuff. It was just too over the top. I'm like, this is
Yeah, and some of the scenes were almost like this. There's a shot, almost a shot for shot remake of what happened in the first movie.
Yeah.
like when they go to that little restaurant and stuff.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
it was like the exact same scene almost as the first movie, just
But
in the future.
In the future, yeah. It just felt the first 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, I think this is going to be terrible. Then it
Yeah.
kind of started. Once I kind of got away from that and just going into the story of it, I'm like, okay, it got a lot better.
Yeah,
I thought it wasn't bad for a sequel.
I
thought
did
was,
enjoy it, but like I said, the first 20 minutes, I'm like, oh, I think this is going to be terrible.
See,
Yeah.
in
It
full,
got a lot better than
full
I thought.
disclosure, I missed rewatching the first 20 minutes because I got taken away from watching it, so
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I didn't see that part. But I mean, I thought, like I said, for a sequel, which sequels have a good reputation of just being
Well,
terrible.
sequels
are garbage.
Tough to do, yeah. Well, it's always hard because you're trying to go back to the same well a lot of times, and
Yeah.
this especially,
Yeah.
you're trying to go back to some of those same jokes, like the manure.
always the
Okay,
manure.
that
You know,
was
and stuff
annoying.
like
Biff in the manure every time.
But
Yeah,
he
so it's
deserved
like-
it. He sucked.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's just kind of sometimes it can be kind of just come off as not lazy, but just kind of
It does.
Been there,
I
done
think
that.
lazy is
Yeah.
a good
It's
way to
been there,
describe
done
it.
that,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
But overall though, I was surprised. I thought it was actually, I thought it was really good.
I'm getting
And-
slouchy.
Uh-oh.
Like I said, I do think they did a good job of interweaving the stories of the present, the future, the past, everything. They did a really good job. And then going to the third one, I still think they did a good job of
And I
keeping
think
that sort of storyline of going through the different generations.
well, and I
good.
think that's all honestly. Oh, maybe I should save this for the end, because I'm sure at the end you're going to ask a question about
No.
the trilogy and stuff. Can somebody
You
remind
already just
me?
skipped all three of my questions and you want to answer there. It's like, well, I don't need to answer those questions.
Wait, can you guys remind me to say my point of what I was going to say about the trilogy at the end when you asked that question?
Absolutely not. I don't even know what you just
Sure.
said.
Damn it. Okay, I'm going to try and remember because it's a really good point.
What do you say now?
Okay, so I think that maybe this is... No, I don't want to say it now. I got to say it at the end.
Okay.
Continue.
All right.
All right, well, let's just go into, yeah, like I said, I was going to ask you guys some questions about Back to the Future 2, but you hit them all. What do you think of it? Did you
Oh.
think, not really a big deal, but did you guys, I think we all said, but no, didn't realize it was not ever planned to be a sequel.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And what were your thoughts on, what did you think of their 2015 life?
Well, nothing like that. Well, most of that didn't happen.
No,
not
it
at
was
all.
completely,
I mean...
Yeah, the hoverboards. What else was there? There was, I think it was the Pepsi was different or something.
shoes.
It would like pour a different way in the
Yeah.
restaurant. The shoes, like you said.
I mean, yeah, I mean...
The
back,
3D movies, the Jaws that
that
came out
giant
of the
shark, that came out to like,
out of the movie theater. Yeah, exactly. The hologram.
And
I'm
it's-
surprised we don't have it because I'm sure we
No.
could do. Though there you see some in like in Japan and stuff. You see some of those billboards they
Yeah.
have, and they're like
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Like, I think, obviously, too, like, it was total guessing for them with 2015.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously you make it a little bit exaggerated because, well, like, I remember, like, it was a side note really quick, way back when I went to Disney World in, like, 1989, and it was, like, not Universal.
Epcot.
I don't know, yeah, one of those.
Epcot had like the World of the Future.
World of the Future. And I remember going in there, and the whole thing was when you call somebody, you could see them. It was a video call.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, my parents were like, oh my, and I was like, no way. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
And it didn't happen how they predicted it, where it was literally like a home phone and you sit down and there's a screen. Obviously now it's just like cell phones. So it's like
Yeah.
different, but I mean, it does happen eventually.
Well, even remember his TV? He had like 5 channels on and like 6 channels on and like almost like picture in picture. Remember that? So
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, that kind of not so much now,
Well,
but like but having that you can watch
Yeah.
multiple TVs or whatever you want at any
Yeah.
time. It's like
Oh, the dehydrated food. Remember that? The grandma brings in pizza.
yeah, that's right.
From Pizza Hut, and it's dehydrated.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So it goes into the rehydrator. Comes with like a full like pan
a
pizza.
full pan. That
Yeah. I could get
that would
behind
actually
that.
be actually kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be all right.
So it's kind of neat, but I mean, the whole point
Yeah.
is not about
But I remember
what
watching
the future's
it.
really like. It's
Yeah.
you know.
Watching it younger, being like, wow, that's awesome.
But it's interesting too because I think everyone kind of says, if you could go back in time, what are you going to do? You're going to go back and get rich, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Everyone
yeah.
kind of says that. So,
Oh yeah. How many times have you joked about like if we had the winning lottery numbers?
Yeah,
Going
winning
back and-
lottery
yeah.
numbers, or I'm
But
going to
then
go
it-
back and buy Apple stock, or
But then
Oh, yeah.
but,
something like that.
but that wasn't your life journey, and you're messing with the universe.
That's right.
The timelines.
You can't mess with it. What's gonna happen is gonna happen.
You know what's crazy? Maybe there is a Steve out there somewhere that made a different choice like that, bought Apple stocks way back in the day, and he's living a different life.
I hope he's living large.
Okay, that's just depressing to think of it that way.
Well, it's probably a shit Steve made worse decisions
Or,
too.
well, I was gonna say there's worse Steves.
That's right. There's probably one that.
So-
Maybe this is Steve that bought Blockbuster stocks.
That's right.
And he's like-
had it all, and let it slip away.
Yeah, exactly.
Son of a bitch. But let's roll into Back to the Future Part 3, the finale, the final saga of this
pile
epic
of
trilogy.
hot-
They should have called this one Marty Goes West.
Hot
Yeah.
steaming garbage.
Yeah, I hated this one.
Honestly, I tuned out for 95% of
Did
it,
you?
and it felt really long. Was
Yeah.
it the longest
Yeah.
running movie? Because it was long.
I don't know that, but it could be, yeah.
Yeah.
I was absent for a lot of it. I don't even know why they went to the West, the olden days. I don't even know.
No, well, I'll give you a little bit of a filler, not too much. But so Back to the Future Part 3 is 1990, is the third installment of the Back to the Future trilogy. Stars Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Mary Steenburgen, Thomas F. Wilson again as Biff.
Biff.
Or no, Griff, or no, Butch. What was his name?
I think it was Butch or something
He was
like
the
that.
bad. I can't remember.
He was
his
the
name.
bad guy in the Old
Yeah.
West.
And Leah Thompson. The film continues immediately following Back to the Future Part 2. While stranded in 1955 during his time travel adventures, Marty discovers that his friend Emmett Doc Brown, trapped in 1885, was killed by a Buford Mad Dog Tannen. That was it.
Mad Dog Tannen.
That was it.
It's the Tannen family. So
Yeah,
it
it's
was Biff
Biff's-
Tannen. This is Mad Dog.
Biff's great-grandfather. Marty travels to 1885 to rescue Doc and return once again to 1985, but matters are complicated when Doc falls in love with Clara Clayton.
But
Mary
I'm confused now.
How could you blame him?
I'm confused. If he died in 18, whatever year that was, and he goes back to try and save him, isn't he messing with the line?
He's going to save his friend, yeah. But Doc shouldn't have been there in the first place, I don't think. I don't know.
Because Marty keeps thinking of the initial timeline he has in his head, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to make everything match up to that.
Yeah, so
It gets very confusing, and again, they just wanted an excuse to go to the Old West.
Well, they're probably trying to figure, like, how do we make the third one?
We went to the future. We went to, like, it went in the present and then the 1950s, so, like, the recent past of the time.
Yeah, so it's probably easier to go back in time than to try and go, like,
way into the
Jetsons,
future.
like, you know,
Yeah.
everyone
That would have
flying
been
around.
cooler, though.
Maybe, I don't know. It might have, I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be hard because, you know,
obviously,
just,
I know, but either
I'm
way,
guessing that was probably it more so. That was like, it's easier to go further back in time
Yeah.
than it is to go, like, way forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely, I think, the 3, it was definitely like the weakest.
I think so.
It was just, I don't know, like
Terrible.
it's the same because you're kind of going back. I know now you're in like the old time days, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
But
just,
I also think that part of it too, like the second movie, you're a little bit more like forgiving on some of the jokes that are retold because you're like, whatever,
Yeah,
they're trying
that's
to.
true, yeah.
But by the third, it's like, Kate, dudes, like, come up with something new or just stop making movies.
Yeah. They tried to bring back some of the magic of the first one. Like, we talked about how Huey Lewis had a huge song in the first movie.
Yeah.
So the third one, they brought in ZZ Top.
That's
and
right.
They were the featured band.
Yeah, that was really weird. Too.
Yeah.
They were just kind of there and
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They're kind of they spun their guitars around, they did their little gimmick, and
yeah that's right.
their song wasn't great.
I just.
I have nothing against ZZ Top.
No, I like
Sharp Dressed
but-
Man, come on, but like this is not Sharp Dressed Man.
Well, it's a weird. How is or Huey Lewis story makes sense because they're kind of like that pop,
Yeah,
but ZZ Top is a little more hard rock bluesy stuff.
yeah.
Kind of a strange, maybe the West. I don't know.
I
Texas.
think, like, yeah, also, too, like, the manure thing. The second time they did it, you're like, oh, okay, he's in the manure. Then the third time, it's like, really?
Yeah.
He's in the manure again?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
move on.
He's
like,
back
change
again.
it or, you know, come up with something. By the third one, it just, it definitely feels lazy when they redo the jokes and stuff.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
again though they do a good job though, like because even like the name on the apple cart was the same as like the truck. It's the same as in the future, and like
They tie it all together.
the mayor of like in the 80s was like, remember he was like the working in the soda shop as like pushing
the
a broom,
50s.
and then I think I'm trying to remember in the Wild West he was in there too, and I don't
In
remember
the saloon?
was he in the saloon or something? I don't remember,
think
but they
so.
kind of had they did a good job of that though throughout the movies, having these characters just kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
like they're not major characters, but they kind of
Yeah,
appear
they
in
pop
different
up
like you
and-
know, so you see the trajectory of where they get to.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on. Back to the Future 3 was filmed in California and Arizona and was produced another $40 million budget back to back with Part 2. Part 3 was released on May 25th, 1990, 6 months after the previous installment, and grossed $245 million worldwide during its initial run, making it the 6th highest grossing film of 1990.
So still made a lot of money. Not as much as the first two
No,
movies,
No,
but
but
still.
still, and
Still.
6, so that's why they did them back to back, so you can get one, and once it kind of, you know, because obviously back then it was a little different, like home rental was not, it was big, but, you know, it wasn't the money that you get now for like on demand and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, let this one kind of, you know, once it gets out of the theater, then here's
Next
the
one.
That's right, you get him with
Boom.
Yeah.
The
that
1-2
was-
punch.
One-two
that
punch,
was-
yeah.
See, that bugs me because that was just a total money grab. I don't like that.
Well, that's what sequels are for
Well,
the
that's
most
all
part.
sequels mostly
Yeah.
are.
I know,
it's not
but
like
that's
it's a story
fine.
that needs
Yeah.
to be told. It's
Hey,
just the movement.
no,
a ton of money.
Exactly.
But I'm saying the second one I feel like works. Like the third one just felt like a reach. That's all.
Well, it's a lot different than the two. Yeah, it's completely, you know, because as they say, you're not in the 80s or the 50s. It's like you're going to like the 18s.
But it's not even
1880s.
that
It's,
so much. It's just like I said, I think they just recycled a lot of the jokes too much by the third one. And like, anyway, but we'll get into that when you ask your questions.
Okay. Let's go into it then. So, yes, that was basically it. So my first question is, did this third sequel need to be made?
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely,
No, I agree
100% not.
completely.
It was a money grab, especially releasing it 6 months after the second one. Please, at least be a little bit, you know, sneakier with your
Yeah.
motives.
It was a lot of lazy storytelling, a lot of rehashing of the same jokes again.
It's hard to keep going
Just in
back
a
to that
different setting.
well.
And they had to give Doc a love it. Like, what? Doc doesn't need. No, Doc is like a bachelor for life because he's so weird.
I got no
he's
problem
so-
with Doc having a love interest.
But I don't think that Doc doesn't deserve a love interest. But
You're
I just.
saying Doc doesn't deserve
Are you
love.
trying to come at me in
Are you
this
saying
for
nerds
this?
don't deserve love?
Oh no!
No, listen to me. I am saying because the character of Doc Brown that we've known from the first and the second one, he is just passionate. His love
Eccentric.
is the science, right?
Exactly. He loves science.
He loves
and
science. So it's. I'm not
Science
saying
is his mistress.
right, but I'm saying in the context of his character, having
Yeah.
a love interest just didn't. I don't know. It was weird.
Maybe it's needed to meet the right lady, and she just happened to be in the past.
Well,
in the distant past.
in real life, having a love like there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying in the context of his character, like no, it was The science was his like passion, his love.
But science
Yeah.
bit him in the butt. Don't you remember the third one? He's like, I want to destroy the time machine. This thing's brought me nothing but trouble, he says.
That's
yeah,
right.
Well, I mean, because maybe he just needs to think a little bit before he does crazy things.
Well, that's not part of his character.
That's not what he does. That's right. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I definitely don't think this one needed to be made.
No.
No.
It was definitely like, okay, maybe if they had not tried to do them back to back and take a little
Yeah.
more time trying
Yes.
to flesh out the story or something,
Yes.
maybe it would have been better. But it
I
just
think
felt
that's-
The series seemed very tired at this point.
it just felt like, okay, I've seen this before. I know it's
Yeah.
in the 1880s now,
Yeah.
but it's like this feels like
I think for
It's
me,
been done.
the biggest thing
Yeah.
is just the quick release just feels weird.
yeah. No, I get why they do it because you're gonna try to make
Of
as much of it as
course,
possible. But in
but-
terms of story, yes,
Yeah.
it was not that great.
No.
Okay, so I kind of mentioned it earlier, but how do you guys think they did it in terms of the actual like storytelling, but weaving this story between these three trilogies? Do you think they did a good job there? I thought they actually did a really good job personally, but here's what you guys think.
I think that, I think that, this was my point. I wanted to make at the end.
Well, now you're going to say it now.
We're wrapping up here.
Okay.
Steve
so-
pulled it out of you.
Okay, so the point I wanted to say is I think that is one of the reasons why this trilogy was successful, still is successful and will continue to be successful, because not only you can watch these three movies individually on their own, but together it's like one big giant story. And I think that because a lot of times with like sequels and stuff, but they don't have all the interweaving and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you said, having the names and the people, they did a really good job with the details of that. Where
No,
it's
and that's
like,
what I'm saying. I think, and I think you're exactly right. That's what makes them so good, I think, is that
yeah.
they aren't each one. You can watch
You
them
can
as
watch them
standalone
individually,
movie,
but they won't make a
all
lot of
interconnect.
sense. Like if you watch the second one without watching the first one, you'd be like, "What?"
That's
So-
true.
Yeah.
The first second one makes no sense on its own.
So I like that you have to, like, they're smart. You have to watch all three of them to really get it. So at the time, it's like, when they're paying money at the box office, it's like, no, people are gonna go because like.
Yeah.
So I think that was very smart, whoever came up with that, or I think that was brilliant and it worked because the three of them are like a puzzle and they kind of all go together.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I agree completely.
So that's my answer.
Yeah. I think they did a good job of telling like the story across all three movies. The third one just sort of always felt weird to me. Didn't feel like it fit.
It didn't feel like it fit. I
'Cause
think it's
I can't even really 100% remember like how Doc Brown ended up in the Wild West.
well. I think the reason for me,
When they were leaving at the end of the second movie, when he's flying away, remember the guys who shows up at the end? Remember at the dark road in the rain,
Yeah.
and he's flying away, and he accidentally hits his foot on like the control panel or whatever, and it sets it to 1885 by accident.
yeah. I remember
right.
that
When
part.
I'm totally spaced on who the actor was that showed up at the end of it in the rain.
I don't know.
Wasn't Biff? No.
No. Remember, it's like a lawyer, and he gives him Doc Brown that letter from the past.
Oh, it's Joe Flaherty.
Joe Flaherty. That's who I'm like.
Yeah.
Joe Flaherty. Man, and then
I totally forgot he shows up there.
yeah, and then Doc Brown at that point he accidentally hits 80 or he goes 1885 because he gets that letter from himself, whatever, right?
Yeah, the one he sent. Was it UPS or whatever it was?
Yeah.
You know-
It was like a joke of the UPS like shop. Like, this is actually a real person. Like,
Yeah.
are these instructions real?
Yeah, Joe Flaherty's like we've held on to this for like 75 years
Yeah.
or something.
You
Yeah. So
know-
that's how he ended up
Right.
going to the past.
You know, one of the reasons why I think the third movie didn't fit or like
Why?
doesn't feel like it fit was because obviously they knew at this point in time the third movie was it, right? Like they weren't
Yeah.
going to do anything else. So I think that they completely sold out. I don't know. The ending was a super sellout. I hated the ending of the
Of
third.
the
movie.
third,
Oh, yeah.
where he came back
With
with his
his little
kids.
family and like blah blah blah
The
blah.
little
blah.
kid who had
Okay, wait, we're going to talk about that. But I'm just saying, I think it was
Oh.
like neat and tidy, like too neat and tidy and like, oh.
Yeah, the ending wasn't great. And then another thing that kind of irked me too was Marty McFly in the second movie they introduced. Suddenly he hates being called chicken. It's this new like character flaw that Marty has that wasn't in the first movie but showed up in the second and third movie.
And it was so weird that it was such a major trigger for him.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it's because of his dad, maybe, or something.
I think probably.
But,
But suddenly, like, if somebody calls Marty chicken, he starts doing all these stupid things.
he's ready to like fight everybody and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. In the second movie, in the future, Flea goads him into buying a bunch of these like shares on TV.
Yeah, that's
Flea
right.
comes on his TV phone.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What's wrong, Marty? Are you a chicken?" Because Marty wasn't going to do it. And then he gave Flea access to his work computer, whatever it was.
That's right. And he gets up getting fired
Yeah.
for it.
Well,
Because his boss is like, I heard the whole thing, Marty. Like, I heard what's going on there. You're fired.
Yeah.
I think it definitely has to do with his dad, because that was the whole main thing about his dad. He was a pushover, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, but it was just weird that all of a sudden it becomes
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
big
it wasn't in the first movie.
Right,
It's
yeah.
it's this big thing with Marty in the second two movies.
So, okay, we briefly said something, then we stopped. But Eric, I think you need to tell the story, because you're the one that told me and Steve about it.
What story?
The kid at the end.
Oh, this is actually hilarious. I saw this TikTok.
Yeah.
You will
And-
never unsee it
And
now.
it was
Yeah.
like things that you probably watched the movie you didn't recognize, but in the end of Back to the Future Part 3, Doc comes to back to 1985 in his train time machine.
Lame.
Yeah, lame. And he's got his family with him. And
laughing already.
Marty's talking to Doc Brown, like, "Whoa, like, what the hell went on? Happened?
You're
How come you're back
back.
here? What's going on?" And then Doc Brown introduces Marty to his family, and while this conversation, there's a shot of Doc Brown, his wife and his two kids, and the one kid, the actor, has to go to the bathroom. And so if you watch him, he motions off camera like a little like.
Come hither.
A little
Like,
wave
hurry up.
motion, a little hurry up
Yeah.
motion, and then like he points to his pants, like he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
He points to his penis. And
Yeah.
he's like, but the best part
It's like-
about
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the kid's literally like, what? I don't even think 10.
He's got maybe
eight.
like 6 or 7
Yeah.
years
But the
old.
best part is he keeps the face.
His face is
It's
Yeah.
just like this, like,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
gotta watch it.
He must have been trained to do that. Like if you have to go to the bathroom, like this is the signal.
It must have
Yeah.
been something.
Yeah. And maybe like he thought like he was in like a close up where they couldn't see where his hand
Well,
was.
that's the thing. The shot is like
Yeah,
wide
it's a
shot.
wide
so it's like
shot.
it's literally him like right over
Yeah.
Doc Brown's shoulder. or
But it's one of
whatever.
those.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you look back and like, how did like they miss this and this make it in the movie?
It's
Like,
I
so
wouldn't have noticed it
obvious
till you pointed.
now.
I was like, when did you say? I'm like, oh my, yeah,
yeah,
totally noticeable.
It's pretty,
So
this poor
obvious.
kid's got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, but imagine being that kid now is like, that's hilarious. I don't
Yeah.
know. That is funny. That kind of made the whole scene not so
That was
lame.
actually the best
Yeah.
part of the whole movie.
But no, the ending was just, it was too neat, tidy, tied up with a bow. It just didn't make sense. I didn't like it.
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm gonna stay here in the past. I like it.
And
I'm
I
happy.
still, but that's not
And how
even
does that now screw the future?
Exactly, and Doc Brown was so against the time machine. It,
Yeah.
it got destroyed on the train tracks, and then Doc Brown comes back with a whole new time machine.
And
yeah,
I-
somehow he managed to build one again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, I will die on the hill that him having a love interest just didn't fit the character.
No, I can see that. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
It's not my Doc Brown.
No, but it just wasn't the character. Like, it was just not who he was in that
Yeah.
portrayal.
All right. So, two quick questions. Just which movie was your favorite out of the three?
Easy number one. In my humble opinion, 2 and 3 are not necessary.
Okay.
Ooh, two's not necessary?
Which one
I'm
for
saying
you,
two's
Kel? Which is
necessary.
your favorite?
Okay, when I was a kid, number 2 was my favorite. I loved number 2. I don't even know why I loved it. I just loved it.
Okay.
But I'm still gonna say number 2, but number 1, like, they're tied.
Okay. I think number one was because it was the first, it was
Yeah.
the most original, but I'll say number one was the best. I didn't
Yeah.
know if we have which one was the least favorite. I'm gonna guess
Ugh.
Three.
Three, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so big question. Is there an argument that Back to the Future is the best trilogy ever?
I think that, well, I mean, this continues on to what I was saying. Is there an argument? So are you asking, do we think it is?
Well,
Or
yeah, do you think, is there an argument that you can say yes, it is, or
Well-
hell no, there's not, like,
no, I mean, clearly the fact that almost 40 years later, they like, and throughout that time leading up to now, like, I mean, they've re-released DVD series and sets and
Yeah.
special editions. And, my 7-year-old nephew now has Back to the Future stuff. He watches all the movies. I mean, that says a lot. It's kind of like the Star Wars, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of, I think it's just timeless. I think it's going to continue. And I think they just did a really good job of making it be timeless and not like stuck that they were made in 1985. And again, I think the fact that all three of those movies need each other to work so well together,
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
makes it a really nice, neat package, minus number 3, but whatever. A nice little neat package with a bow that if you watch, like, you're going to watch them all. You're not just
well,
watching
no,
one.
I mean, if you're going to watch one, you might as well.
So I don't
watch
know.
all three.
I definitely think it's probably one of the I'm not saying the best, but probably like it's just timeless. I think that right there says it all.
Okay. What do you think, Eric? Is it?
Oh no, I don't think so. I don't think it's one of the best trilogies of all time.
I
at
never
all.
said it was the best. I said I think that it
I don't even think it's in the conversation. If you
Oh
look at
my
like
gosh.
Star Wars and Indiana Jones and other big other big trilogies out there, like the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think like Back to the Future, the trilogy holds a candle to those.
Okay, but
Yeah.
the fact
I think Back to the Future as like a time travel series is great. I mean, it's much better than Jean-Claude Van Damme's Time Cop.
But wait, what about the fact that it's from 1980? Like all those movies you just said, other than Star Wars, they're all like not that old. Like
Well, yeah,
they're
they-
old, but I'm saying they're not
Indiana
like.
Jones is
so
old.
the same
Okay.
same time period as.
I get it, but I'm just saying like. I think that it's up there with like the Indiana Jones and stuff.
I don't agree. I think like Indiana Jones is like, you know, 2 very solid movies and the third, you know, in the original Indiana Jones trilogy.
I've never seen that.
So I think out of the original trilogy, there's 2 really good movies, 1 okay movie. Back to the Future is 1 really good movie.
Yeah.
I
Promise. Well, even
disagree.
Indiana Jones. So how many are there now? Like, there's more than 3, isn't there?
Oh yeah, there's like 5 now.
That's what I'm saying. So they kind of
Yeah.
Jump the
like
shark.
it was one of those things. It's like like
They-
Star
they-
Wars. Is Star Wars a trilogy? Not really anymore.
Back to
Now
the-
it's like
Yeah.
Back to the Future doesn't have to like make a new movie 40 years later.
I'm sure they will. Mark my words, there'll probably be a Back to the Future remake at some point.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I would probably say that would have been probable, but the fact that Michael J. Fox isn't in the greatest health, and I think he has to be in it to make it.
it would be really hard to do without.
I think
him,
they could
yeah.
do a total reboot and have him jump in a cameo.
I think he could do a cameo, but I also think that he is the movie.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like if you reboot it with all new actors,
That's
then
just lame.
but they do it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I know, and they're lame.
I know what I'm saying. Like, I think there's a possibility that could be a series they do a reboot on.
I feel like if they were gonna do it, they would have done it already.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, honestly, I would hope not because it would definitely ruin it.
Yeah, it would.
because,
Oh yeah,
Because I think that's part of the problem. Like talking about like Star Wars isn't a trilogy anymore.
No.
no, it's,
Indiana Jones isn't. They've ruined them all.
oh yeah,
They could have been the best trilogies.
They should have
potentially.
just left them.
No, and they didn't, and they've kind of sullied the brand.
yeah.
So I don't think Back to the Future is the best trilogy.
No.
I think it was really good, and I enjoyed them, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's the best one ever. But it is a trilogy. It's 3 movies.
They stuck
They
with
did
it.
a good job with it, and I think they should not do anything further.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're going to end up with like Star Wars, these other ones where it's like, okay, now you're just making them for whatever,
Well,
and
yeah.
you're just going to ruin the 3 of them that were good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they were really good. But again, so like Eric said, the first one was a really good movie.
Yeah.
Second one, good. Third one, I don't think it was terrible. It was just kind of too much of the same thing.
I think
that
by
point.
the third one, it was like, okay. Like, it definitely probably could have just been a 2.
It didn't. The third one, or
a
they could have
duology.
maybe done something. I don't know, something different. But it was just too much of the same thing again
Yeah.
on every level. Other than the fact
100%.
that it was in the Wild West, it was just basically the same kind of formulaic movie.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but I think it worked, and I think it's timeless, and I think like now, like I said, I'm the biggest critic of watching olden day. I call them olden day movies. Anything before like 1990, like old days. I'm
days
the
you
biggest.
were watching, you lived through and were part
Right,
of.
but
with your Diet Coke and popcorn.
shut up. I am the biggest critic of like movies being like bad like that, and when I watch it, I'm like, I just forget that it was made in 1985.
Yeah, no, it didn't age. It aged well. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
I
It wasn't
think
it
too
really
dated.
aged
Like
well.
the fact
Like,
that it
they
was in
weren't over
the
the-
80s, it wasn't like.
Like, it wasn't over the top with like, even though it was made in 1985, but they were just like regular teenagers, so there wasn't over the top with their outfits, so that
Yeah,
it
no, that is
dated
actually a very good
itself.
point. Yeah, yeah.
They were just in jeans, and like it just doesn't feel dated.
No, you can watch it today, and it feels like it's somewhat current.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
obviously, like he's wearing the red vest or whatever, where it's like,
Yeah.
but.
I don't
it's
even wear
normal
those
clo-
now.
No,
Yeah.
he's not walking around like with frizzy like rocker hair and like
Like
Yeah.
1980s
yeah, like 80s
Bon
like
Jovi.
glam rock or something like
Yeah.
that. That would
Yeah.
actually be amazing.
That'd
to
be
see,
awesome.
but-
A weird question. If you could time travel, would you, and where would you go?
I'd want to go. I don't want to go to the future. I don't think I want to know the future, good or bad. I think
Yeah.
that some things in life just need to remain a mystery, and you have to live through them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be mentally preparing for things in the future, good or bad. I'd definitely go back. I think. I
No,
think
I-
I'd go back to like. I would love to go back to like when my parents were kids.
Oh yeah,
Just to see
just
how
like
they-
the first movie.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
to see how they grew up and like how my grandparents were as parents and just
Yeah.
that family dynamic.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think I'd go back to the future. We'll see it soon enough.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean.
The
It's
future's
like,
we're gonna see it, so I don't need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'd probably go back. When? I don't know how far back I would go. Not like crazy far. Maybe
Yeah.
back to like the 50s or something like that, the 60s. I don't know.
yeah.
I'd go back to last week. Get the lottery numbers.
No,
there you
you
go.
And then
can't do that.
I'm Biff. I don't have to say I'm Biff.
You can't do that.
I'm gonna bet on the winning number and open up my own little casino resort.
That's
Can
the
you
way to
give
do
me
it.
some money?
Sorry?
Can you give me some money?
No. After you're so supportive right there.
Well, I think you
Forget it.
can't mess with that. The universe didn't want you to win, so you shouldn't.
The ripple effect.
I have a time machine now, so I can do whatever the hell I want.
That's true. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely can 100% say that I don't want to go into the future. As much as like curiosity you want to, but I don't, because I don't, again, all the good things that are coming, I want to be surprised. The bad things, I just don't need to know.
Yeah. The future, yeah. Be like, yeah, I can see it.
Like, imagine
when I get
knowing
there.
like when, certain people die and stuff, like that's terrible. I don't want to know that.
No, exactly. You go to the future and be like, oh, this is horrible for whatever reason.
Yeah, a way to look forward to things.
Yeah. You're like, well, I wish I didn't know this was coming.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Or-
go back to regular time and.
You know what though? I'd also like to go not even that far back in the past. I like to go back in the past, like to when I was a kid growing up again.
Well, even go to back to the 80s and 90s
Yeah.
and stuff like that, being older now to
And knowing,
enjoy
like-
things differently because
Yeah.
you're not a kid
Yeah.
or, you can
I always
you
say
just have a
that.
different experience of that time frame.
I always say that I would love to go back to high school now for like a day or like a week. I'd love to go back to high school like when I was in high school, but being this age, just because I'd give 0 Fs. But in high school, it's like your whole entire world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, it's like everything. It's just like
Oh yeah,
so
high
traumatic.
school. Yeah, you realize, at the time, everything in high school seems like a big deal. Once you get out of there, like that was nothing. It was just
No,
like
a blip. And I
Yeah.
want to go back and tell my like self when I was like 10, 11, 12 years old, be like,
This,
matter.
no, exactly. None of this matters at all.
I mean, it shapes who you are, but when like 30 years later, are you even like?
Yeah, no. What seems like
Yeah.
earth-shattering, end-of-the-world stuff, as when you're
It's 4
15,
years of your
it's
life.
nothing.
It
Yeah,
passes by.
Yeah, and you sadly, but whatever. But you probably won't talk to most of these
No,
people. If it
but-
wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't talk to anybody. I went
But
to high
it's
school
like
with.
No.
I don't even
four.
talk to anyone. I just see them posting
It's
stuff.
Yeah.
4 years out of like 80 plus years
Yeah,
of your life.
yeah. But at the time,
So-
it seems like it's the most important 4 years of your life.
Well, I'm disappointed that Eric just said it was hot garbage. The whole trilogy.
Well,
It didn't
I don't
matter.
think he said
I said
hot
the first
garbage.
movie was good. The
I know,
rest,
but you wouldn't even put it up as like in the category of some of the best trilogies.
no.
Well,
Aren't
no.
you the one that has the like special edition 3-part DVD?
No, I have the box set.
Okay, the box
Oh,
set.
the
Yeah.
box. Jeez, Kelly, he's got the box.
Look at the
Right?
box set, the one that came out in 2002.
Have you opened it yet?
Oh yeah, I have. I've watched all 3 movies
I remember
on
you.
DVD.
Oh, okay. I mean, you weren't as harsh
What?
about it, but I feel like,
Who, me?
yeah.
No, I think they were good, but I don't think it's anywhere near the best of.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think it's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched every trilogy, so I mean, I'm just saying, but I think that they did a very good job where 40
Mm-hmm.
years later, like I said, 7-year-olds now are watching
Yeah,
it.
exactly. And hey, let everyone watching, listening, guys, let us know. Hit us up.
Yeah.
Instagram, Gen
Agree.
X Unfiltered. Let us know what you guys think. Are we off base here on Back to the Future? Or is it the best trilogy in the world? Are we completely crazy?
We're crazy.
That's all I
Eric's
say.
crazy.
No, I'm on point. Everyone else is crazy.
But you guys, that is it for today's discussion. It was a good one.
Yeah, it's another fun. It's always fun watching these old movies and going back
Yeah,
and
yeah.
doing a deep dive onto them.
But like Steve said, comment below. Let us know your thoughts. We always enjoy reading those comments.
Absolutely.
But that's it for today's podcast, guys. And we will see you and talk to you in the next one.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Guys.
See you. Back to the Future.